Hi, welcome to Multi-Unit Mastery Monday. And today's topic, which it was something that I have been thinking about for a while, and I thought this is the right time to talk about how, in this day and age, and actually every day, you should hire slow and fire slow. This is something that I know that it is contrary to a lot of people's beliefs, a lot of leaders' beliefs, and it is something that I feel very strongly about. People are the most important resource in any organization. And sadly, if you are not aware of that, if you don't believe this, if you don't really get the part that without people, you cannot have a successful organization, you're going to struggle in business for a very long time. Being able to hire and retain the best people is going to be your biggest business advantage for your success. Sadly, many organizations don't realize that. And the reason is just because most organizations are focused on profitability, right? About making the profit, because if we make the profit, then eventually we can, pay people better, or we can provide better opportunities or better benefits. But I believe that this is wrong. We have that upside down. So today in Multi-Unit Mastery Monday, I'm going to share with you why I believe this is wrong. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Aisha Bascaro. I am the founder and CEO of the American Franchise Academy, where we help lots of franchisees be successful. And not only do I have a 30 plus year career in operations, brand management, and multi-unit franchising, international, domestic. I have worked with many franchisees, hundreds of them, and I know what it takes to be a successful franchisee. And I know that those top performing franchisees are the ones that know that if your people are first, not profit, that you're going to be able to make the profitability that you want. And the people that think that is the other way around are the ones that are going to profit first themselves out of struggle and overwork and terrible turnover. So let me explain the three reasons why I believe that you should hire slow. I agree on that one, but also fire slow. And there are three specific reasons for that. So let's go and get started with reason number one. And the reason number one is that you hired those people. You hired those employees that you may now want to fire fast. And you shouldn't, because if you took the steps necessary to hire the people the right way, if you have a consistent, structured process to identify who the people truly are, what are the skills, what are the desires, what are the values that they have, and then based on that information, based on that hiring process, you made the decision to hire them. Then you saw something in them that told you they were the right people. So the only reason you may have made a mistake is if you don't have a good, solid, systematic way of hiring the best people for your organization and making that decision, because you have interviewed, dozens, hundreds, maybe thousands of people. So you sort of know, what you're looking for. And so it's not only about you knowing what you're looking for, but having a system in place that the people in your organization that are doing the hiring process also have a solid system, a solid process to then hire the right people. So you really should not fire people fast because you chose them. You saw something in them that made you believe that they were the right person. And if you chose the wrong person, then you need to go back and look at the system that you have in place. You can have a system in place that you create that will allow you to identify who they really truly are, so that you know whether they're a fit or they're not a fit. So that's the first reason why you shouldn't fire somebody fast, because you saw in them something that made you believe that they could be a great fit for your organization. And for that reason, before you fire them, you got to slow down and make sure that you're making the right decision. The second reason is the second reason why you should hire slow and fire slow is that if they are failing, if you do have a great process for you to hire them and they are failing in their job, if they are not doing what you thought or expected them to do, there is something that failed them. So, whether that would be you, your organization, your processes, your system, maybe the team, something happened along the way that had them not perform the way you thought they were going to perform. And so, you really got to slow down a bit and see what it is that is causing that to happen before you just make a decision to let them go. That is the second reason why you should hire slow and fire slow. And this third reason, and I think it's a huge important reason, is that turnover costs a lot of money. As a matter of fact, I tell my clients turnover is the biggest hidden expense in your business. It is probably much more expensive, or there is a lot more waste caused by turnover than there is, managing a labor or managing your product costs or managing utilities. Just about any line item in your profit and loss statement, I will tell you that turnover causes more waste and more loss of profit than just about anything in your organization. And because it's hidden, you don't see it, you can't quantify it. It's not like inventory of product or labor that you know exactly how much you wasted. With turnover, the waste comes from the time and effort that it takes to hire people, the time and effort that it takes to train people, the time and effort that it takes to get them to go from making mistakes to doing a great job, right? And then the waste of the product, the waste of the service, maybe customers lost, who knows, in the process of hiring a new employee, what it takes. And when people stay and they are not doing a job, then morale gets hurt. I mean, it is just a tremendous amount of expenses and actual financial loss you have from turnover. And so this is why you really should slow down before you let go of someone that at some point in time you thought was a great person, a great fit for your organization, right? So before you do that, really take a look at, was it that we failed them? Is there anything in our systems, our processes, our team, our environment that made them not perform? And if that's the case, what can we do about it? Because that turnover, every single employee that leaves your organization is costing you and your team not only profit, but also morale, quality, service, and everything else that makes your business go well. And so, I know that there is a huge train of thought that says, hire slow and fire fast. And I say that is wrong. You need to hire slow and then also fire slow, because if an employee is not performing, there is a reason for it, right? And at this point in time, we know that we have a staffing crisis, and I know nobody's going to do a cost turnover, just on a whim. But the same way that we look at every employee now, in this time, we should do this, we should have done this before this whole crisis happened. And from now on, we are learning a big lesson about how each one of our employees is so critically important. And so if you are going through a staffing crisis, if you are going through staffing challenges in your organization, I urge you to look at every one of your employees, from your district manager, supervisor, general manager, unit manager, district, assistant manager, and every single person, all the way down to the brand new employee, and really take the time to ensure that not only they are the right people, but that they have the tools, the resources, support, and they feel like they matter in your organization. Take the time to understand if anybody is not performing, why they're not performing. And that is something that I want to add to this, right? So not only should you then hire slow and of course fire slow, but find out if people are not performing, why they're not performing. Rather than just go directly into the attack or the criticism or the disciplinary action, first, let's slow down a moment, stop for a second, and try to have that open and honest conversation with that employee to find out why they're not performing. I believe that we don't do this enough. The moment that we're seeing that somebody's performance is going down, we're just starting to think, maybe they're not the right person. Somehow we go to that default. Instead, why not spend the time to really truly analyze why that is, right? And I think that there are several reasons why we don't do that. Number one, it takes time. And right now, we're all very busy. It is really difficult for us to really find the time to do things like that. But I'm telling you, if you don't do that, it will cause turnover in your organization, and it will cost you more than what you think if you don't do that. So really, maybe not you as a leader, but if you have a district manager or unit managers, they need to take the effort to find out when somebody is not performing. If you identify somebody before we go into the disciplinary, why they're not doing it, it takes time, and sometimes it takes vulnerable conversations. But if you have them in a point that the employee feels that you truly care and you want to know the reason why, you'll be surprised how much you can find and learn from that, and how much you are able to turn people's behavior and outcomes if you have those type of conversations. I think that the second reason why sometimes leaders don't take the time to do that is because sometimes you're going to find out that it's your fault, that something about the organization or your team that is not happening that should be happening. And sometimes we just don't want to confront yet another thing that we got to address. And the reality is that if you don't do that, it will cost you a lot more. So take the time to make that happen, to really get that. And if it's something that you identify that you as an organization can do better, then do better, right? And so the last reason I think why we don't do that, we don't take the time to really address each individual before performance gets worse, is because it's easier to just let people go. When you see that the performance is not there, we just go in automatic, what, I can't handle this, let them go and let's hire somebody else. Even I've seen it even in times like where we are right now, where staffing is a challenge. Just because somebody's underperforming, we still say, what, let them go and let's find somebody else. And that is not going to take you where you need to be. Let's go back to the start. There has been in the past a huge culture of profit first. We make the profit, then we can provide the benefits, which then will have the people want to stay. And I would say it should be the other way around. It should be people first. Focus on your people, and the profitability will come. And of course, you can focus on your people if you have in the first place hire them slow by having a great system for you to identify who the people are their culture fit, are they who you're looking for. If you have the system, then after that, if they are not performing the way that you expected to, there's something that has failed them in the organization to make that happen. So have those open and honest conversations before you go into the disciplinary process of letting them go. And the last thing I'm going to say to close with this conversation is, once you do identify, a person's performance not being there, make sure that you do follow a very strict process for disciplining them. If and it comes all the way to letting them go from the organization, because if you do that, you at least giving them the chance to turn around the performance before before they leave the organization. And that is something that you should do with every single employee. And so, even though I know that there's a huge belief on hiring slow and firing fast, I would like to encourage you to consider that if we did the right process to hire them, then we should do as much time and as much energy in finding out how we can save them, how we can readdress and redirect their performance before we decide to let them go and fire the employees. All right. I hope that this was of value for you. If you have any comments, I would love to hear them. And if you want to know how to develop those strict, consistent, disciplined systems on how to hire the right people in your organization, I would like to encourage you for you to visit our Facebook page, our website at the American Franchise Academy, where you can learn of all the systems and processes and training that we provide franchisees so that you can be successful. Having said that, if you have any questions, please send them and put them in the comment down here. I would love it if you give us a thumbs up if you like this conversation. And if you'd like to hear about more information, tips, and best practices like this, subscribe. If you are listening to us or watching us from YouTube, subscribe to our channel. And you will be able to have access not only to all our prior lessons and talks, but also the ones that we're going to have in the future. Every Monday here we are with the multi-unit mastery Monday, sharing this information so that you can be successful. Thank you, and we'll see you next week Monday. Bye-bye.